Okay guys, we're going to be going over percents of change, percents of increase, and percents of decrease with this lesson. And so the formulas are here to help you figure out what you're doing as far as change, increase, or decrease. And they're pretty simple to follow. Okay, so for percent of change, you're going to take the amount of change and then divide that by the original amount and convert it to a percent. For example, if I start with $10 and I end up getting $20, okay, my percent of change is going to be 20 minus 10 is $10 over $10, which is equal to 1. 1 times 100 for the percentage would be 100% change. Okay, so that would be my percent of change. If we talk about percent of increase or percent of decrease, so let's say your grade for the first quarter was an 85. The grade for your second quarter was a 90. Quarter one, quarter two. Okay, so our percent of increase is going to be equal to 90 minus 85 over 85. Okay, so the percent of increase is going to be 15. I'm sorry, whoopsies. Is going to be 5 over 85. When I pop that in my calculator, I get 0.0588. So I'm going to move 1, 2. So the percent of increase is going to be 5 and 88/100%. Okay. Let's look at a percent of decrease. So percent of decrease, say that your grade for quarter 3 for reading ends up being a 78. And in quarter 2, you had an 82. So your percent of decrease is going to be original amount, 82, minus 78, all over, oh, I did that backwards, sorry. It's going to be 78 minus 82, all over 78. So 78 minus 82 is -4. So it's going to be -4 over 78. You pop that in your calculator. You're going to get 0.0513. So 1, 2, it's going to be a decrease of 5.113%. Okay. All right, so let's look at some examples. So here it's an example from the lesson. It's giving you a table of hours online Saturday, hours online Sunday. They want to know what the percent of change is in your online time from Saturday to Sunday. So the percent of increase, so you can see you are increasing, first of all, because going from 2 to 4.5, that's going to be an increase, not a decrease. So how to calculate that? Your percent of increase is going to be 4.5 minus 2 over 2. So it's 2.5 over 2. You pop that in your calculator. You're going to get 1.25. Just move your decimal 2 places to the right to get 125%. So the increase is 125% of your online time. Okay. Here we have a percent decrease example. So here you have a bar graph. So here's home run totals. And they want to know what is the percent decrease from the original amount to the new amount. So if you look at that for the years 2012 to 2013, you can see that in 2012, right here, right, they had about 28 home runs. And in 2013, you can see that there were 20. So what we're going to do is take the 28 minus 20, which is going to be 8, over 28, pop that in your calculator. It's approximately equal to 0.286. I'm going to move 2 places for 28 6/10% decrease. Okay, so it went down by 28.6%. Another thing that's important when you're looking at these percent of increase and decrease and percent of change are the percent of error. So percent of error is the estimated quantity that differs from the actual amount. So you're going to find that by the amount of the air over the actual amount. So here's another example. You estimate that the length of your classroom is 16 feet, but it's actually 21 feet. We want the percent of air. So we calculate that by taking 21 minus 16 and getting 5, okay, over the actual amount of 21. When you pop that in a calculator, you'll get 238 thousandths. Converting that to a percent, just move your decimal 2 places to the right, and you're going to get the percent of air was 23 8/10. So this is all pretty simple, and you should see over here that the percent of air is always going to be positive. So similar to absolute value, the percent of air will always be positive. So let's try a couple here. Okay, so it wants us to find the new amount. So if you have 8 meters and it's increased by 25%, well, first of all, we need to find 25% of 8. Okay, so something over 8 is equal to 25% over 100. So I'm going to cross multiply here. 8 times 25 is 200. X times 100 is 100x. We'll divide by 100 on both sides. And we'll get 2 equals x. So if it increases by 25%, that means it's going to go up 2. 8 plus 2 equals 10. So our answer would be 10 meters. Okay. Now if we look at these examples, it says identify the percent of change as an increase or decrease. So that's what we're looking at first. Is it going up or down? And then find the percent of change. Round to the nearest tenth. So I'll just start here on number 8. So number 8 says 12 inches to 36 inches. Well, that's a positive, right? That's an increase. So what we have to do is find the percentage of our increase. So remember, the percent increase is equal to the new amount minus the old amount, or original amount, all over the original amount. So here we have the new amount is going to be 36. The old amount was 12, all over 12. Well, 36 minus 12 is 24 over 12. Well, you know that 24 divided by 12 is 2, and this is a percent, so I need to multiply that by 100, and that's going to be 200% increase. Okay? Let's look at number 10. So number 10 here, it's going from 50 pounds to 35 pounds. Well, that's definitely a decrease, right? Because it's going down. So I need to take, from my percent of my decrease, is going to be equal to 35 minus, oh, I'm sorry, whoopsies, I mixed that up, sorry about that, guys. 50 minus 35 all over 50. So that's going to be equal to 15 over 50. When you pop that in your calculator, you're going to get 3/10. I need to multiply that by 100 for the percentage. So it's going to go 1, 2. So it's going to be a 30% decrease. Okay. And you can kind of do that in your head a little bit to make sure you're right. So you know that 10% of 50 is 5 because I just moved the decimal over. So that's 5. 5 times 3, because 30%, would be multiplying that 5 by 3, is 15. 50 minus 15 is 35. So that 30% decrease makes sense. Okay, here we have, you estimate that your baby pig weighs 20 pounds. The actual weight is 16 pounds. Find the percent of error. Well, the percent of error is equal to the amount of the air. Well, 20 minus 16 is 4, right? Over the actual amount. The actual amount here is 16 pounds. So 4 over 16, if you pop that in a calculator, which you kind of should know that one, because it's 25% or 0.25, the percent of air is 25 hundredths. I need to change it to a percent, move the decimal, so it's 25% air. Okay. A couple more here. You estimate 200 people are going to attend a school concert, but actually 240 a 10. The percent air here is going to be the change, 200 minus 240, or 240 minus 200 is a 40 person difference, minus or over the actual amount. So you're going to have 40 divided by 240, and you're going to get 0.1667. So the percent of air, 1, 2, would be 16.67% is our percent of air for that one. Finally, we'll look at this last one. Suppose the length and width of a sandbox are doubled. Okay, so here's our length. If I'm going to double that, that's going to be 20 feet, right? 6, there's my width, doubled is going to be 12 feet. Find the percentage of change in the perimeter. Well, if it was, the perimeter was, okay, 6 times 2, that'd be 12, because I'm going to add it, right? I would take 6, 2 times 6 plus 10 would be the perimeter, right? So that's going to be 2 times 16. So that perimeter, the original perimeter is 32 feet. The new perimeter is going to be, whoops, let's write that a little better. The new perimeter is going to be 2 times 12 plus 20. Okay, 12 plus 20 is 32. Times 2 is going to be 64 feet. So the percent of change is the amount of the change. Well, 64 minus 32 is 32. So over the original amount, 32, if I divide that, it's going to be equal to 1 times 100 to get the percent is going to be 100% change. Okay, and then you could do the same thing for area using length times width. So there's just a quick lesson on percent of increase, percent of decrease, percent of air. They're pretty simple to solve once you just plug the information into those formulas. Okay, thanks guys.